Hi everyone, I'm Belle Diepa and this is Belle's Doll Adventure. On this channel we talk about dolls, Barbie collecting, and how Barbie is inspiring us in real life and how we are inspiring Barbie. Today we'll be talking about the Metaverse. I know, it doesn't have anything to do with dolls. However, it does have to do with dolls and collecting. But before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all of the latest Belle's Doll Adventure episodes. Now, let's get started. So for today's episode, I've got a super special treat for you all. My good friend Cres from Cres's channel has joined me as a special guest. Cres, will you please tell everyone what your channel is about?
Thanks, Belle, for having me in your channel. Yes, everybody. Hi, my name is Cres, and I run the Cres channel on YouTube. And you may go and subscribe to the channel. The channel is all about myself and living in the San Joaquin Valley, and also seeing things from like a journalist perspective. I just started out YouTubing, so if you would like to see those videos, feel free to go to the Cres channel and subscribe.
Awesome. Thank you, Cres. Okay, so I'm super excited to have you on here. The reason why Cres is here is because Cres, aside from being an amazing journalist and a really great YouTuber, he's actually also a really great SimCity player. What does SimCity have to do with the Metaverse? Well, with SimCity and The Sims, you're actually building an alternative reality world, which, as I've been learning about the Metaverse, is actually very similar. So what is the Metaverse? The Metaverse is a 3D life, and apparently from everything that I have been reading and keeping track of the news, it seems to be that that's where our future is headed. A lot of companies have been buying up real estate on the Metaverse, and there is a lot of talk, the same way that there was in the early 90s with the boom of the internet, you know, that little thing that we just use every single day, all the time. So there's a lot of talk of the Metaverse basically having the same impact and basically being Internet 3.0, where we will be literally living in this virtual reality world. It's a little frightening. There's a lot of things I don't understand about it, but I had a recent conversation with a person who knows about crypto and blockchain, and he was explaining to me that we have a lot of similarities with things like Minecraft and with SimCity. And actually, during the pandemic, a lot of schools and a lot of people in general, they were starting to build whole communities online through games like Minecraft and SimCity and The Sims. So I was hoping that Cres would kind of give me a rundown on what SimCity is and like what do you do? Okay, so like first of all, you kind of create your own world in SimCity. Like how does SimCity actually work?
So what is SimCity? That's actually a really big question, because SimCity is one thing, and then there's also the whole idea and reality of Sims. It's just a big question because how do you sort of condense it into something that people can understand? But I'm going to try just from my perspective. So Sims and SimCity are sort of part of this virtual reality, virtual gaming sphere and world, where essentially people go in and create their own small worlds. And so the way I got into SimCity and just the Sim world in general was through SimCity Deluxe. That's actually the game that I started playing, SimCity 4 Deluxe. And essentially what the game is just a place you can go in and build your own cities. We all live in cities and towns and, you know, metropolis. And so you get to essentially get inspired from your reality, and you go into SimCity and you build your own. Sometimes you might not like your own city or your own world. So SimCity allows a user, a gamer, to essentially go into the game and create their own reality. And that reality exists for the time that they're playing this game on their computer, on their phone, or whatever gaming device they use. But then there's also this world of Sims. So aside from SimCity, there's also many games about just Sims. And what that is you're basically running people's lives on gaming consoles. And there are many variations of Sims. There are Sim families. There are Sim like universities. You can do anything with Sims, just like we do in the real world. And this has really been something that people have been attracted to, I think, because of wanting to control reality, right? And so the reason I'm here is because I am an avid SimCity player. A long time ago, I used to play Sims and play with characters and that kind of stuff, but I recently just started focusing only on SimCity. The reason is because I'm also very interested in creating cities and, you know, getting inspired by large cities that do exist in the real world and replicating them in SimCity. Because we get to essentially become city planners and become mayors and become just citizens of this virtual world called SimCity. And it has been a really fun time creating and growing cities and providing education, healthcare, and providing, growing economies in these SimCities.
So you're like a mini, like, you're the ruler. Are you like a mini dictator, a benevolent dictator?
So the thing about SimCity, for anybody who's played it, and I'm sure everybody has at least heard of it, and many people have played it, you control the game. So, you know, there could be 1,000 people playing SimCity. Those 1,000 people are running their city their own way, the way that they want it. And so the way that I build my cities is a reflection of perhaps how I would like to live in cities and how I would like cities to be run. And so it allows people the ability to control essentially the story of how this reality should be. So
okay, that gives me, I'm so glad that you're bringing up this point. Because one of the big attractions, for example, to the metaverse and even to cryptocurrency, because we talked a little bit, and I'll provide a link for the NFT video and how NFTs we're learning about NFTs through Barbie and the Barbie Mama NFTs. But basically, with this rise of the metaverse, there's cryptocurrency as well, which would be the type of currency that you use in the metaverse. But all of this is decentralized, which is very different from how we live in our regular non-virtual worlds. So, you know, our non-virtual worlds, we have government, we have centralized governments, and we have businesses and corporations that they have to work and live within the government. Now, as you're mentioning this about SimCity, what my brain is thinking to myself is, what is going to happen in this metaverse? As far that is my cat. If you guys hear my cat, she just is very vocal and very excited as well.
I think she's also a Sim. So.
We might all be living in the Matrix. Right. I don't know. But no, honestly, like, that's actually a really good thought, because what's going to happen, and I don't have an answer for this, and I'm sure you don't have, I don't think anyone has an answer for this.
We are not experts. I think that, like, the fun thing about this is, at the end of the day, we get to quit SimCity, close our laptop, and go on with our daily lives.
Yeah.
Right? So we can just, for an hour or 2 or 5 hours, we can be in the SimCity world or Sim world and sort of just see something different.
But
right?
What's going to happen when we have to live in these worlds? And right now, a lot of companies, they are buying real estate. Like, they're buying huge blocks of real estate. And that's one of the things that a lot of investors are even saying, to buy NFTs, to buy NFT websites, so that you can have some sort of, I don't know, profit, but like, you can own real estate on the metaverse. But if there's no centralized government, who's going to be regulating things? Basically, like, the way that you just described SimCity, I'm like, oh my God. So the way that a lot of us learned about the metaverse was because Mark Zuckerberg had announced that they were changing Facebook to Meta. My sincere question is, will corporations be running the metaverse if it's so completely decentralized? Will there be government, and what type of government and what type of regulations will be put in place? And will our rules, like our labor laws, will they apply in the metaverse? I think that there are so many questions that are opening up, and we're talking about investments and money, but it seems like things are going really, really fast. And so we have references, you know, Minecraft, and we have SimCity. And, you know, so the other question I wanted to ask is jumping back into SimCity, you have to create an avatar, right?
So if you play Sims, right? So there is like Sim families. There's from babies to old people, right? You can run multiple people, and yeah, essentially they're avatars. You can dress them. You can make them go make food, eat, sleep, because they're essentially real people. And in some, you know, I'm not like the most sort of expert player, but I've read and also heard of some podcasts where some people are so attached to their Sims that they essentially assign them sort of these like values, right? So they essentially make a character in their Sim world be somebody who they've lost, right? Like a grandmother or a grandfather, so that they can continue to be with that relative. And so this is sort of the attachment that people have, right? So when you lose something in real life, you can go to SimCity or Sims and essentially still have that thing and sort of be on your own terms about when you end it and when you don't. And so this is sort of like an advanced stage of the game. I have not played at that level, but I have created avatars and have run Sim households where essentially everybody has to get along. And if something is wrong, there are settings that come up and it says one Sim is hungry, one Sim is sleepy. You have to control you have to control them, because essentially they could die, right? Like this is like real people. And we all need sleep in real life. We all need to eat. So do our Sims. Yeah. And so if you want to be a serious player, you will follow the rules and you will be a good Sim citizen. Sim citizen.
Okay. Have you seen? You just reminded me, because you said that sometimes people make avatars that have to do that are in memorial of a loved one. Have you seen that one episode of Black Mirror? Do you watch Black Mirror?
I have seen Black Mirror, but I will be honest, I have not seen every episode, so okay. I'm not the best person to talk about that.
Well, there was this one episode where basically everyone was living in this virtual world, and it was like basically like you couldn't die, like your soul was uploaded to this virtual world, and so like you could be with your loved one forever. And so like now I'm going into like the sci-fi part of this, but that's the thing, is that I feel like I honestly, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because we are coming into this very interesting part of humanity. And I have a background in anthropology and in archaeology. And so it's really interesting how much of our lives are becoming digital. And it makes me question, how is that going to affect us psychologically? Because we are such physical beings. Like, we like to have things that we can touch. You know, as a collector, I love collecting my Barbies. I love having my things. And there's this idea of like, you can create in the metaverse, you can buy real estate and you can create a gallery and you can see a virtual museum. But like, to me, that doesn't seem as appeasing as going to a real museum and looking at like, even though I can't touch the paintings, but like paintings that I know like we're actually in the same room. Like, you
can travel, you can smell everything around it, you can see people who are also there, right? That's the reality of it. And so I guess the question is like, in sort of this transition to more of a virtual digital world, how much of it is coming with us and how much of it is not? And so I think, like you said earlier, there are many questions that are opening up, and particularly as a storyteller, as a journalist, I am just sort of like waiting, right, for us to fully understand like what is going to happen. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming to join me on this episode. I really appreciate your insight and learning more about SimCity and having this really awesome conversation about this metaverse that we really don't understand.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your channel, because I certainly am somebody who likes to geek out when I get to talk about SimCity. Like, I can be, playing SimCity on my laptop and somebody comes over and I'm like, hey, look how much money my city has and look how much my city has grown. And sometimes there is no space to put any more things in my city. So it's just a really exciting game, but in the way that it relates to Metaverse, what this video is about, I think that like people who have played SimCity have these references, right? Of like how some virtual reality is going to look. And there have even been articles where SimCity has even inspired city planners, right? So that's sort of the real effect of games like these. But the metaverse doesn't seem to be a game. It seems to be sort of what the reality might be. So it was fun to sort of be here and talk about my little bit of expertise on SimCity. So thanks so much for inviting me.
Thanks. And thank you for tuning in. We will see you soon. I will see you soon. But till then, bye for now.